Welcome. You are listening to Brides, Panties, and Sports. I'm Spitface, and I'm here with the always classy and sometimes sassy host of this show, the First Lady of Sports Talk. You know, the one and only Cheryl Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, Spitface. How are you doing this morning?
Great. I know it was a late night for you, First Lady. You was up watching the real boxing.
Right.
How did it feel watching some real boxing?
And let me tell you, it was a real boxing match. I'm telling you, those people out in Vegas, they received their money's worth between Tyson Fury and Wilder fight. That was a great heavyweight fight. It's nice looking for people really fighting. Really want to hit each other.
I have just been so, disappointed with all these fake boxing matches with overage boxers. Some of them weren't even really boxers. And internet sensations, and I just, to me, it's just like I've had enough of it. I didn't watch none of it, but I didn't enjoy the hype. I thought it was disrespectful to sport. But enough of that soapbox. And but man, I saw the clips of them fight. Now, let one of them internet sensations get up in there with somebody really. It will be bad. It will be bad. Because them boys was mixing it up. Now, check out the music this week on Shout Out. We are featuring performances from Tamara L. Wilson. Will she find her shining style, get the cold feel of the mute button? First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world. Not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as the Crimson Tide wish they could fly far, far away from a 41-38 loss at the hands of the Aggies. Jimbo Fisher is the first Saban assistant to defeat the master. Has a kink been exposed in the Tide's armor? Bama and Georgia were ranked 1 and 2. After today, do their rankings flip? Does Bama fall out of the top 2? Are Bama and Georgia still headed towards the national championship? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Yeah, Nick Saban was undefeated. He was 24-0 Spitface against his former assistants, and his team won 100 consecutive games against an unranked team. Well, both records are gone because Jimbo Fisher's Texas Aggies surprisingly defeated Alabama. And the thing about it, Alabama was favored by 19 points in this game. But but no one told the defense they were favored because Alabama.
Nobody told them.
Nobody told them because their defense was awful. They were missing tackles, missing coverages that really led to touchdown. I mean, Saban, he was fuming because he's a defensive guru. He had to be sick to his stomach on his team overall performance, and I'm telling you, it was bad. Alabama gave up 41 points to an Aggie team that couldn't score more than 10 points in their games against Colorado and Arkansas. The Alabama defense was an epic failure. It was really an epic failure, especially in the last 5 minutes of the game. They allowed a game-tying touchdown and eventually the game-winning field goal. So, unfortunately for Alabama, this loss really has complicated Alabama's playoff chances. I mean, let's go over. I'm going to go over what the polls look like prior to these games this past week. Alabama was number 1, Georgia number 2, Iowa number 3, Penn State number 4, Cincinnati number 5, and Oklahoma number 6. So, yes, Georgia will now be number 1 because, as you know, the Bulldogs, they destroyed Auburn by 24 points. Now, Spitface, Alabama should fall out of the top 6 teams. They should not be flipping to number 2. No sirree, no sirree, because other teams deserve to move up. Iowa was ranked number 3. They should move to number 2 because they defended Penn State, who was ranked number 4. So you got to move Iowa to number 2. Cincinnati should move up to number 3 because they pounced all over Temple. They won by 49 points. And Oklahoma should move to number 4. And Ohio should move to number 5. So where does Alabama fall? You can put them in number 6, number 7, however you want to do, but they should not be in the top 5. They should not be in the top 5. But, Spitface, I do see that Alabama could still be in the playoff picture and possibly listed number 4, because we know that 13-member selection committee, which is composed of former college administrators and coaches, will always give Alabama a chance to remain in the picture because of Saban's reputation. He shouldn't be. He should be not in the top 5. He really shouldn't be, but I would not be surprised when those polls come out tomorrow that Saban's team is ranked number 4. For somehow they're going to keep them in the playoff position because we know Alabama is top-rated and draws crowds and money, and that's what these people look at. It's sad to say, but it all comes down to college football. The buck stop here, and that's what it's all about, money, money, money. And putting Alabama out of the top 4 would be a risky chance for these committee members. Very risky, but they should be Spitface. But I'm going to see because, like I said, I don't trust the committee. I really don't trust them at all. And, Georgia and Alabama definitely can still end up in the championship game. To me, it depends on this week's placement of Alabama because, to me, if they're out of the top 4, it's going to be hard for them to get back in because they still got some tough games coming down their pipe. They still got to play Arkansas. They still got to play Auburn, and those are division games, and they play each other tough down in the SEC. So it's going to be tough for Alabama. But like I said, I don't trust the committee. I don't trust the committee at all. So we'll see, Spitface. What are you saying about this?
A one-loss Bama is in the playoffs. A one-loss Bama, they in the playoffs. So that's what I say about that. A one loss, and I don't want to be too early, but don't call it a comeback. Because Bama will drop out of the top 5 so that they can have the drama of a comeback. And because, like you said, it's all about the Bucky Bucks. And if Bama drops out of the top 4, it drops out of the top 5, then all eyes will be what will they do to fight and claw their way back to being in the top 4. So either way, Bama did. Now Bama lose 2 games. That's a whole nother world. But a one-loss Bama team, they in the playoffs. They are in the playoffs. And Georgia better watch out. They better watch out. Because this is where you start looking ahead. Oh, Bama done got knocked down. And you end up messing around and looking ahead and lose a game that you should not have lost. So Georgia better watch out and, as they say, play the next game. But, I watched that Bama Aggie game, and I'm like, man, these are two teams I do not like. Two teams I do not like these two. I do not like the Aggies, and I sure don't like the Crimson Tide. But I will say the young quarterback for the Aggies now, like you said, Bama looked like they left their defense at home. But they sure made him look like a superstar. I thought Johnny Manziel had returned, or something, because he was hitting them. I mean, that boy was lighting up. It's like if he was taking what the defense gave him, he took. He took and he took and he took. So, it actually was an exciting game. And especially since when Bama started coming back, it's going to be all over. But it was not. So that was I got to salute the Aggies, the 12th man. And even though I don't like y'all, that's all I'm saying, First Lady.
Okay. Yeah, well, again, Alabama, it so much depends on this current poll that's going to be out. So much will depend on it, and it's going to shape the playoff future. And I just think that the committee needs to do the right thing, and the right thing is not placing Alabama within that top four, because those other teams deserve to be in the top four. All right, Spitface, over to you.
All right, don't call it a knockout. Come back. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion overpowering over the competition I'm towering. Wrecking shop when I drop these lyrics that make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. We are talking about the potential knockout punch to the Seattle Seahawks season after an injury to Russell Wilson. Can Geno Smith keep them in contention in a loaded NFC West? If Russell is out 6 to 8 weeks with the extra game and extra wild card spot, will they still have a chance? Will Russell ever get a league MVP? Is this Pete Carroll's biggest coaching challenge? Who will step up now that Russell is out? Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you saying. First Lady, I saw I don't know if you saw it, but I saw the visual of the finger. And that sucker look ugly. That sucker look ugly. Now, I'm no wimp, but if my finger look like that, I don't want to play either, no, man. I ain't playing no more, And, what it reminded me of, I've seen a couple of football games where the quarterback, hit his hand on a player's helmet, and that finger got knocked all out of place, ran to the sideline, they pop it back in, and I'd be like, ooh, yucky. Because that bad boy got hurt. Now, they did, they've updated that it can be 4 to 8 weeks. But given this is Russell Wilson and, your franchise, I would say that it's going to be in that 6 day. Even though they said 4 to 8, it's going to be in that 6 to 8 week range. You just do not rush him back. And if it's already going downhill, you really don't want to rush him back, because then he's a performer. He is going to get out there and give his 100%. And hey, don't have him over a finger end up being out even longer, because now he's aggravated it and interceptions going everywhere. Let him heal. Now, Geno, you know what? Geno Smith. from what we saw in the last game, they can win a couple of games. Okay, but the NFC West is just so loaded. So it's not a matter of Geno Smith. It's a matter of what all them other teams are doing, and they. Now there's some chances to, Jimmy G hurt. Jimmy G is hurt, and so the young rook is coming in. So they could be stumbling around a little bit too. But the Arizona Cardinals and the Rams, they just ain't no joke. They gonna be all the way to the end. So. And there's going to be, and there's some competition in the other divisions slowly starting to develop in the NFC. So it's not a matter of Geno keeping them in contention. It's, one, what's going on with their own division, and two, what's going on in some other divisions where the wild card spots start tightening up. And the other thing is, what is Geno working with? Hell, they couldn't protect Russell Wilson. How they, if they can't protect Russell Wilson, and they like all of a sudden they gonna become a brick wall to protect Geno Smith. So I'm like, Geno, you looking pretty good, but man, you ain't got escapability, like Russell got. So. And I do think this is Pete Carroll's biggest coaching challenge. And whenever your star player go down, okay, yeah, you may not have someone that can just fill that role. And so the coach got to step up. And this is going to be the first extended period in a while where Pete Carroll ain't had Russell under center. So what you going to do, Pete? What you going to do other than not get him an offensive line? And who will step up? Somebody on that offensive line is going to have to step up to help Geno Smith or one of them running backs. So that it's got to come from the running back or somebody on the offensive line that's going to protect Geno Smith. First Lady, what you say?
Well, I mean, Geno Smith, he has been he was drafted by the New York Jets. I mean, I just have to give some history about Geno Smith. He definitely was a failed draft pick of the New York Jets. And but you want to know something, Spitface? He really looked good filling in for Russell Wilson after he injured his finger. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he had them to score a touchdown, and they had a chance to win the game, but they came up short when the receiver fell and Geno Smith threw an interception. But, Geno has bounced around since his stint with the Jets. He's been in the league. Believe it or not, he's been in the league since 2013. He spent 4 years with the Jets, followed by 1 season with the Giants and 1 season with the Chargers. And he's been with the Seahawks for the last 2 years. And the problem is with Geno Smith, since 2018, he's only completed 5 passes in 9 attempts. So he really doesn't have the experience within the last several years. So, to me, the fact that his performance to me was epic, considering the lack of playing time he had. Now, personally, Spitface, I don't think Geno Smith will keep the Seahawks in contention because he's not spectacular. He's average, and the Seahawks defense is no longer the Legion of Boom, so they need the quarterback to be the difference maker, and I'm sorry, that's not Geno Smith. I mean, people don't realize Russell Wilson's play has kept the Seahawks in contention because Russell Wilson, we all know he's outstanding, and he's just kept them in contention because their defense has not been good for several years. And with Wilson potentially being out 6 weeks, now there's this discussion that he could come back 4 weeks, but more than likely that type of injury, you're out for 6 weeks. And it's going to make a big difference because the Seahawks will not get that wild card game. There's no way they're going to get that wild card game because the AFC, I mean, you talk about the West. Forget about the West because they had no chance at the title. But in the wild card, the AFC wild card, it's just too many good teams that can compete for that wild card spot. And there's no way I see the Seahawks with Russell Wilson being out for potentially 4 to 6 weeks. It's absolutely no way. And, you got to give Geno Smith some props because, they always say be ready when your number is called. And he was ready. He looked refreshing, to be honest with you. And a lot of people feel that he can run the offense, the type of offense that Pete Carroll wants to be. He can run it probably better because, Wilson always improvises. He really rarely runs the plays that Pete Carroll wants because he's always improvising. The fact that he has to run for his life because of the offensive line can't protect him. So that's why he's always improvising. He's always making things up. But, Wilson has been a great quarterback. He still has never received a single vote for MVP, and that streak will continue because of his injury. He's not going to be in definitely no MVP contention. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as Wilson is playing, he will always have a chance to be an MVP. But to be honest with you, Spitface, it's starting to look harder and harder because of the influx of quarterback talent in the league. I mean, we got some great young quarterbacks that are in this league that's pushing old father time players like Russell Wilson, who's still young, but it's going to be tough for him. It really is going to be tough for him because I just don't see the Seahawks really doing anything with it the next couple of years because of the fact that, some of the issues are with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, he's always been the darling of Seattle, but to me, lately he has become public enemy number one because his team is not playing at the level that the fans have grown accustomed to watching. This will be his toughest season yet. But their season, if you look at the beginning of their season started off on the wrong track, you remember, because Russell Wilson wanted out. He never demanded a trade, but his agent listed 4 potential trade options, even though he officially never demanded a trade. He continues. The problem is Wilson wanted out because of Pete Carroll. Many people feel that Pete Carroll operates in the past and refuses to adapt to the current NFL aerial attack. He continues to rely on that pound and ground offense, and that's what Russell Wilson doesn't want to play. Wilson has a great arm, and everybody now is throwing the football. It's about the aerial attack, but that's what Pete Carroll is old school, and he just doesn't adapt well, and that's the reason why a lot of people feel that Pete Carroll needs to go. And, the other thing, too, Pete Carroll is touted as a defensive coach, but his defense is at its poorest. Carroll, has not had a top 10 defense in points per game or yards per game since 2016-17 season. So, to me, you ask who needs to step up in Wilson's absence? I think it's Pete Carroll. He needs to develop better offensive and defensive schemes to help the Seattle Seahawks win. He has to be the one that needs to step up. And, he has to step up as a better coach, a better playmaking coach. He just can't continue the same offense and definitely not that same defense. He needs to get some players. I know it's the coach, the head coach is more of a manager, but still you have to put people in place as your offensive, your defensive coordinators. You need to talk to them. You got to come up with better schemes because it's not working. So, Spitface, it's Pete Carroll. He definitely has to step up in Russell Wilson's absence. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So this will be Pete Carroll's biggest coaching challenge, and because he's the one that's got to step up. And First Lady, when you sitting up there recuperating for 6 weeks, you can't play. You start observing things. Some players observe things and go, you know what? When I get back in, I got to step up my game. other players may observe, what am I, what am I doing out there? I need to be on another team. So somebody going to have to go. Somebody going to have to go at the end of this season. And it may just be Russell. But unless the owner nip it in the bud in a hurry. But even then, it just may be time for Russell to get out of Seattle. So, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from Tamara L. Wilson, not related to Russell Wilson, on Shout Out Part 1.
I don't know. Welcome back. The music flows in from around the globe. To get a shout out from the panel, First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Tamara L. Wilson.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring music from Tamara L. Wilson out of Georgia. She says music is the strongest magic. All right, DJ, let's hear Tamara's magic, and the song is It's Your Life.
Paint by numbers, choose your colors. You don't have to be like others. It's alright, it's your life. Well, I can see you feeling blue, but you can change your life, it's true. It's alright, you'll be fine, yeah. I've seen cloudy days just like you. Well, it took some time, but I finally knew. If you see it like you want it, dream it like you want it inside your mind. It can be just like you want it, dream it like you want it inside your mind. And believe. choose your colors. You don't have to be like others. Nah. It's your life.
Okay, Tamara L. Wilson. Well, Spitface, I'm going to give the record a yo. I'm not too keen on her voice. Her singing voice, it's not gonna knock you off your seat like wow, she can really sing. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think she can really, really, really sing. But it wasn't to the point that I have to hit the mute button. So I would give it a yo. That's how I feel at this point. What's your take, Spitface?
Okay, good. I'm going to shout it out. I thought she stayed in her lane. It was nice produced. I thought it was a nice track.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, Tamara was okay. She ain't Whitney Houston, but but for what she was playing, she's not
Whitney Houston. She's not a whole bunch of other people.
So she didn't try to go there. That's the thing. She didn't try to go there. She's like, hey, I'm doing my little mellow music. I thought she was jamming.
Oh, okay. All right. So you shouted it out, and I give it a yo. So we'll see what she has on her second performance to change my yo to a shout out. All right. Part 2 of shout out. We'll have another performance from Miss Tamara L. Wilson. But this. Does he like to perform? Is that the sound of my favorite underwater friend? Is it time for flipping?
All right, it's time for flipping, where our hosts defend a point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. Urban Meyer and John Gruden were both in the news for the wrong reasons. Which coach looks worse? Panel defend. Urban Meyer skips the plane going home with his team after a loss, so he could hang out with a woman, and there's video. Okay, we got Gruden, who made some disparaging, to say it lightly, comments in an email 10 years ago. Given the state of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're highly, did I say highly, drafted quarterback, and how the team is shaken out, and, Urban Meyer bringing folks, as coaches on that, I'll just say some of their backgrounds is severely questionable. This looks kind of bad for a rookie coach. This looks real bad. Gruden at least has a winning team, and 11 years ago. Now, Urban has everything to prove, and so far he's proven that he ain't all that about being a leader or the face of the franchise. And I'm sure the ownership is going to stick with him. But the team got to think about it. We flying home, our heads, is hanging down. And, usually what we see is after a loss, the coaches on the back of the plane, they still, they're working on the next game plan. Hey man, look, that's closed up. We got to look at, tightening up, doing that. So they sitting up there on their little laptops on the plane, and they working out strategies, looking at what we, and the team is going, well, hey, look, let us chill. We know that they got a job to do, but the head man. Yeah, he trying to get a job, the wrong kind. So certainly, Urban Meyer looks the worst. First Lady, defend.
Well, to be honest with you, both of them look horrible. But the Urban Meyer debacle is one that to me is personal, because he was caught in a compromising situation that affects his family and his players. He's supposed to be a leader of men, and his actions did not show leadership. His actions show his players that he's not disgusted with their 0-4 start, that he can stay in Ohio and party with fans. Now, the difference between the Urban Meyer situation, what Urban Meyer did and what Gruden did, it was Myers happened recently, and we saw the evidence because it was on video. Now, Gruden's remarks happened while he was not a coach, but as an analyst. Don't get me wrong, Gruden's remarks are very, very, very disturbing, but the relevance is not there right now. Urban's behavior since he's been the coach has come under fire for several other issues, and also the fact that they're 0-4. They're 0-4. So Urban Meyer really is off to a really rocky start as a head coach. I mean, let's look at a couple of things he did. Number one, you remember he tried to announce that he was going to hire Chris Doyle as his director of sports performance, and how could we forget? Chris Doyle had been accused of racism. So that didn't bode well with the players. So guess what? Urban Myers had to backtrack his hiring. Then you remember he gave Tim Tebow. I like Tim Tebow, as Stephen A. Smith says, his friend. And Tebow is so nice. I like Tim Tebow. I don't like to talk bad about Tim Tebow. But Urban Myers had no business giving Tim Tebow a chance to be the tight end and, allowed him to try out for that position when he's never even played that position in the NFL level. I mean, to me, it wasn't well-deserved, and players who really deserved to have a chance didn't even get an opportunity like Tim Tebow. So that's favoritism, because we all know Tim Tebow is Urban Meyer's son from another mother, but that is his son. But anyway, he had to release Tim Tebow. And then, I'm not sure too many people knew this about Urban Myers, but the Jaguars were one of three teams to be fined $200,000 by the NFL because of breach in practice rules in violation of the NFL CBA. And Myers was fined $100,000 personally for breaching. So Urban Myers' stint as an NFL coach so far has been a failure, a failure that eventually is going to get him fired or he's going to resign. On the other hand, Gruden, hey, what can you say? He may have said some bad things, but we got to remember he still has that massive contract that will keep him coaching.
All right. You heard the defense, but this is flip it. So we're going to defend. Talking about a black man's lips, who happens to be the head of the National Football League Players Association, will not endear you to a lot of black players. And, Urban Meyer is, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are heading toward a dumpster fire. Okay, that's all there is to it. They're heading toward a dumpster fire and the first pick in next year's draft. Okay, it is, now it's a matter of during ordinary times, Urban Meyer would look like the worst. But he's been so bad That is like, oh, are we really surprised? Every bit of him being brought on board, which was a huge mistake by Jacksonville. Jacksonville went for the bright shiny object that would be drawing fans to the stadium, versus we need to get somebody who's got NFL experience. So they getting what they get. It's surprising, but this dude know what the hell he's doing. Now Gruden, on the other hand, actually, this is the penalty. The NFL is already saying we're gonna penalize him. We might make him go through some what they call it, racial sensitivity training. Okay, so in that end, you go maybe the punishment is minor, but every black player, every player of color is gonna, have that one little thing in his mind. What does the coach really think? Am I just a plantation slave in this coach's world? Because, one of the things that I'll say that Belichick's players love Bill Belichick. They do. And they, talking about the culture, they're tough, they're this, man. People get, but overall, when you talk to them players, they love Bill. They love having played under Bill Belichick, what they learned from Bill Belichick, the good, the bad, whatever, the toughness, they come away with a sense that he respects them as players, and it's a business and all of that. Do you want to, as a player, go to the Raiders with schizophrenic John Gruden anyway, but you in the back of your mind, hey, this dude just think I'm a bit blip, and he just don't say the word, but that's his thinking. So, this is really bad for Gruden, because going forward as a coach, players are not immune to, this is what happened. Now, First Lady, I don't have this personal experience, but I have friends who, they best friend growing up, I'll just say they black, they best friend growing up was somebody white. Like that was their next door neighbor. They grew up, that was their best friend. Like, hey, came over all the time. That's their best friend. Now, between them two, they could say some stuff that somebody over here might want to get into a fight. But that's between them two. They friends and they know the context. I call you the N-word, you call me the C-word, and blah, blah, blah. But we've known each other for 30 years. We can do that with each other. Talk about this and that. But that's about the only time you can get away with it. That's about, unless you're a comedian. And even then it's tough. But Gruden looks worse, because it's like, what's behind this man's words? And he got that long contract. First Lady, please defend.
The history of talking about a black man's lip is well documented during the Jim Crow era. Black people's lips were always over-exaggerated in cartoons and other printed documents by white racists. So Gruden knew exactly what he was saying when he emailed Bruce Allen, the president of the Washington football team, back in 2011. Now, for most people, I had to really dig deep to find out how these emails came about, but the messages were uncovered amid a workplace misconduct investigation into the Washington team. You remember that they've been investigating them, and then all of the emails, the league executives had to go through all of those hundreds and thousands of emails. Who would have known that this email would have come back from 2011? That's why I always tell people, emails and texts will always come back to bite you in the ass, so you got to be careful. And Gruden's racially toned email makes you question Gruden's character. It's about his character. It's about what he really thinks about things. Now, Urban Meyer's situation, I look at it this way. It only affected his family and his team. Gruden's remark affected the entire race, black people, and the entire NFL football league, because 70% of the NFL players are black. So Gruden's remark really hit home there. And, his remarks, to me, are more detrimental. It makes him look really suspectable because black players could be performing for an undercover racist. Yes, I said it. For someone
undercover
to go
racist.
Undercover.
They brought
racist.
back the hoods. Oh my God.
Yes, I said it because someone to go there talking about a black man lives, he has some underlying racism within his spirit. Definitely. That Chucky looking John Gruden, something is not right. So players will always look at him with a side-eye because they're not knowing really what he thinks about his black players. I mean, to me, sometimes it's better to know if you're a racist than somebody to be undercover, Spitface, because that's difficult, I mean, I don't understand what's going on with John Gruden. I feel sorry for him because I'm quite sure he didn't realize that email from 2011 would come back in 2021.
Hey, I don't feel sorry for him because he said it. He wrote it.
Yeah, and the problem is I'm quite sure the email was deleted, but you know how it goes. When you're in an investigation, they go on the back end of those computers and pull out those emails. Emails and text messages are never deleted. They can always be, they can always find them. Computer people know how to pull those text messages and emails up. But John Gruden definitely looks worse than Urban Meyer. Definitely. But, Chucky, what is going on with you? All right, Spitface, please take us to break.
Hey, and the First Lady is right. By the way, just because you delete them off your phone don't mean that they would delete it everywhere.
That's true. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you.
Because somebody received it. So even if you throw your phone away, the person that received it may still got it. So,
The phone company always have text messages, okay? Ask Kwame Kilpatrick about that.
All right. So, hey, now I'm just letting you know that even if it's, hey, look, we'll go look at the other person's phone. They ain't even got to talk like, hey, once you put it out there, a whole bunch of people, you thought you got it. Well, it's over here and over there and over. Next thing, people volunteering. Now, there are some things you can say about let's say a black man, and it will not be interpreted as a racist because it's accurate. And my one example is President Barack Obama with his big ass ears. Now, when you can laugh at yourself, okay, that's an okay joke, because he talked about his ears. He said, okay, now look, y'all get a little carried away, talking about I'm flying around with Dumbo, My ears ain't that big. So, First Lady, please take us to break.
Actually, you're supposed to take us to break.
Oh, I'm supposed to take us to break? Oh.
Yeah.
Why am I taking us to break?
Take us to break. Over to you.
And,
I'm supposed to take us to break. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Okay, all right.
We're talking about them. All right, let's go. Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2.
Okay. First Lady had to remind us that I'm a black man. I can talk about Obama's ears.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. for the funnies. Spitface, over to you.
All right, First Lady. Interesting. The production assist had to go overseas to get this one. Danish artist pockets museum's cash, declares it's conceptual art. A Danish artist who was loaned $85,000 cash by a museum to use in a pair of artworks instead turned in 2 empty frames under the title, Take the Money and Run. Lars Anderson, director of the Kunsten Museum of the Modern Art in Elbeck, said the facility loaned artist Jens Hanning $85,000 in Danish kroner banknotes to recreate 2 of his earlier works that featured cash in a frame. The works, titled An Average Danish Annual Income and An Average Austrian Annual Income, had been intended for an exhibition at the museum about working life. The original pieces had featured cash in a frame representing annual incomes for average workers in Denmark and Austria. Anderson said museum officials opened the box they received from Hanning, expecting to find new versions of the cash pieces, but instead found 2 empty frames. Hanning sent us an email saying he thought it was more interesting to do a new work, and it was called Take the Money and Run. Anderson told Danish broadcaster DR. Anderson said officials are not concerned that Hanning would not abide by his agreement to return the cash to the museum when the exhibition is scheduled to close. We are not a rich museum. We are really hoping the money will come back. Hanning told DR he has no plans to return the money. Of course I would not pay it back. The work is that I took the money and I will not give it back. Take the money and run. It's conceptual art. Right. Sound like some thievery to me, First Lady. Or at least a bait and switch. But gosh darn it, water is splashing everywhere. It must be time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flippin', and Flippin' would never do anything like that.
All right, the Jaguars have looked competitive in maybe one game. Will they be the first team to go winless with an 0-17 record? Panel defend. They will at least win a game or 2. Spitface defend.
You know, even though they have a disaster as a coach, players know that the tape is going to be on their performance for whatever team they go to. And they've been in some games. You know, they haven't been getting beat down like 45-0 every game. They've been in some games. And they got a young quarterback who got some skills. So over the course of a 17-game season, the odds favor that they'll get together good enough, because it's the same thing with the other coaches, the defensive coordinator, the line coaches, the special team coaches. So even if the head man may be screwing up, the tape is on what did your unit do. You know, how did your unit perform? How did you coach up these players? So all these guys know that the eyes are on them that, hey, we may not do crap, but if we want to stay in the NFL, we got to show that something happened. And over the course of a season, there are stumbles, there are injuries, and they will eventually, catch a team sleeping. They will eventually get somewhat better as a team, and they'll win a game where another team is stumbling, or they'll play a team that's battling for that number 1 draft pick like they are, and they'll go, look, we want to lose more than you want to lose. All right, First Lady, but they'll win at least a game or 2 out of 17. They'll win 1 or 2.
All right, they're gonna be stumbling and bumbling, but they should win at least 2 games. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not the worst team in the NFL right now, and historically, they've been a okay team. You know, this is definitely a development year for the Jaguars because they got the new coach, you know, a new NFL coach in Urban Meyer, who's been stumbling and bumbling. But, you know, eventually he's going to lead the team to at least 1 or 2 wins. I just don't see Urban Meyer going through a whole season and not winning a game. I mean, how could you not win the game? And to be honest with you, it's extremely hard to go winless. I mean, the last team I believe to go winless was the 2007, it was 2017 Cleveland Browns, right? They did not win a game, nor did the 2008 Detroit Lions. Now, it's hard because if you remember, last season the Jets started out 0-13, and it looked like they were not going to win a game, but guess what? They won back-to-back games. So like you said, Spitface, anything could happen during a football season. Teams could get a lucky break, you know, where there's injuries. Like, for example, the Jaguars, I believe they play the Seahawks probably while Russell Wilson is still going to be mending his finger. So it's a chance that they can win that game because we know how bad the Seahawks defense is. So I actually look forward to them to winning that game. And they play the Titans this week. The Titans have been really up and down, to be honest with you. So I think with what has happened all week with Urban Meyer, you know, it may propel the team to come out and show out, and I think they could win their game this weekend. So it's bad for the Jaguars, but there's still going to be some bright spots within the season, and they're going to win at least 1 game. I'm going to give them a chance to win 2 games. They definitely will not be going 0-17. I just don't see that. All right, let's flip the script. With Urban Meyer coaching like a rookie, it's going to be a long season. Long winless season. Spitface defense.
You know, First Lady, to my friends in Jacksonville, I can't say I've been there. I ain't never rooted for a team that is much of a dumpster fire as the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, everything about Urban Meyer has been a complete disaster. Starting with a preseason with a rookie coach who didn't know what the preseason was really about, which is evaluating players and getting strategies put in place. And he has just proven that he is not an NFL caliber coach. He does not take it seriously. And unfortunately, I think we will start to see that he is going to lose the team. You know, if he hasn't already lost the team with his shenanigans, and not stepping up to the level. Now, ordinarily, I'd say that, you know, it's a 17-game season. The Jaguars have had defenses that played pretty decent. And, you know, I said they've been in some games where they might have won. And they got their schedule looks like there could be 1 or 2 that they got a good chance of winning. But unfortunately, with Urban Meyer being the dumpster, having the team be on fire for no reason, it starts at the top. It starts at the top. And Urban Meyer, what I see is that this team will join Detroit and Cleveland as with an 0-6 team, and then they're going to put the cherry on top and make it 17.
Put the cherry on top. Yes, this will be the first time in league history, because this is the first time that they're playing 17 games, that, yes, a team can go 0-17. And, hey, why not be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They finished 1-15 last year. I mean, come on now. They really didn't deserve too much praise for being 1-15. And you would expect them to be better with Urban Meyer and being able to draft Trevor Lawrence. Well, guess what? They're not better. Unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence has not looked like the great prospect out of college, coming from Clemson that we expected him to be. And Urban Myers, we already know, unfortunately, he's had a lot of failures so far in the NFL season, and he's not really concentrating on, teaching men. He thinks he's still in college. He needs to remember he's in the NFL, so he needs to be able to be a leader of men when you're in the NFL. And like you said, Spitface, this recent debacle regarding that situation is going to have a negative effect on the team. And I just think the team is not going to come out this weekend and want to play for Urban Myers. And it's going to continue all year. So the Jaguars are in a situation. Their owner, I think his name is Khan. I forgot what his first name is. But he's going to have to make a really tough decision that he may have to let Urban Myers go before the end of the season for his team to ever have any hope of winning one game. And, I mean, their schedule is really tough. I mean, they do have some games on the schedule that they could win, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I just think, unfortunately, they're going to be, like you already said, Spitface, they're going to hit the record books for the wrong reason. But unfortunately, Jacksonville Jaguars situation, it has been a downright disgrace for several years now. And this team was promising. You remember they were really promising when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? And I believe they were in the AFC Conference Finals, and they lost to Tom Brady. But this team hasn't done anything since then. They've had more problems of being in the news for the wrong reason. And now they're going to be in the news for going 0-17. They're going to be in the record books. You can bank it. All right, Spitface. Now, you can take us to break this time.
All right, okay. The Jacksonville Jaguars. On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Tamara L. Wilson on Shout Out Part 2. Maybe she'll get a shout out from the First Lady. Please, please, please stay tuned.
You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Shout Out Part 2, the picks and the finale. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right, we have another performance from Tamara L. Wilson. DJ, let's hear Little More Love.
Well, it only takes a minute to give a little smile or wave your hand to someone passing by. For me, it come natural, it's easy when you try.
All right, that was Little More Love. And First Lady, what's the verdict?
A little bit more love. All right, I'm giving it a weak shout-out. I'll take it from a yo, put it to a shout-out. It was a little bit more peppier, the song was, so I can, but not a spectacular singer at all. Not even if she stays in her lane, her voice doesn't, to me, lend to a nice song. But I'm going to shout it out.
A begrudging shout-out for the First Lady. Well, I'm going to give her a shout-out. One thing, one, she's in her lane, she's doing her thing, but I'm listening to her, and I'm like, you know how sometimes artists write a song, but someone else performs it better? I think that her arrangements and her lyrics are, like, really good. So that way, her singing may not be the greatest, but the whole thing ends up being pretty good. But I could see someone else sing, like Tamara, Share the Love, there's a whole bunch of Ashford and Simpson songs that other people sang. Whole bunch of them, won Grammys, all of that. And Ashford and Simpson did their thing, too. So, hey, look, share the love, share the love. Now, that is the end. A shout-out if you like what you heard from Tamara L. Wilson. Check her out at TamaraLWilson.com, Old Grumpy Radio, and on our Facebook page, BPN Sports. If you would like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to content@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, back to you.
Okay, who will win the NFL crown? Well, I finally cracked the whip on the production crews, the consistence, and we finally got all of the results. So let's go to, we have like 3 results. Like the week 2, I was leading with 300,000. DizzieMac came in second with 300,000. And Spitface, you had minus 100. That was NFL Week 2. NFL Week 3, I had 100,000 points. DizzieMac had 90,000 points. Spitface, you came in at minus 80,000 points. Week 4, which was last week, actually it was not good for DizzieMac and myself, but Spitface, you had 10,000 points. DizzieMac had minus 100,000 points. And I had a whopping minus 190,000 points. So as of today, I'm leading with 570,000 points. DizzieMac has 290,000 points. And Spitface, you have 120,000 points. So that brings us up to the current picks. And let's get to the current picks. The Saints versus that Washington team. All right, I'm going to start it off. I mean, again, you're talking about Jekyll and Hyde team. The New Orleans Saints are Jekyll and Hyde. So who is going to come out? Is it going to be the good Saints team or the bad Saints team? Well, I'm going to pick the Saints. And Spitface, who do you have?
The Saints are favored, but like you said, they kind of Jekyll and Hyde. And so I think they're still learning how to play with Jameis. And Washington, their defense, they got a defense. Don't know what the hell they doing on offense quite, but that defense is steady, and they building something with it. So I'm going to go with the Saints.
Okay, you're going to go with the Saints. We'll have to get DizzieMac's picks later on. All right, Packers versus the Bengals. Ooh. The Bengals are 3-1. Who would have thought the Bengals are 3-1? And the Packers, this is going to be a good game. This, we know the Bills are playing the Chiefs, but I think this is the second best game on the schedule. Well, actually, there's 3 good games this week on the schedule. 3 good games, and this is one of them. I am going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to see how real Joe Burrows and the Bengals are, but I'm going to go with them. I'm rolling with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers. Spitface, What's your pick?
I'm going with the Bengals.
Okay, you going with the Bengals also. We believe in the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, my goodness. All right, now moving along to the next picks. The Browns versus Chargers. That's another great game on this week's schedule. Spitface, who do you have?
I'm going with the Chargers.
All right, you and I are in sync this morning because I am going with the Chargers also. I mean, Justin Herbert really looks good. I mean, I know people in Miami are starting to question that the Dolphins chose Tua over Justin Herbert. Because looks like the Chargers got a winner there. All right, moving along, the 49ers versus the undefeated Cardinals. They're still undefeated, and they will be undefeated against the 49ers because guess who's going to be playing as the quarterback? It's going to be Trey Lance. Trey Lance turn. Is his name Trey? I don't know why I thought. Yep, Trey Lance. He gets the starting nod, but that Kyler Murray, man, Stephen A. Smith says Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. I'm going to tell you, Kyler Murray is a bad man, too. He has just been playing lights out. So I'm definitely going with the Arizona Cardinals. Who do you have, Spitface?
Rookie quarterback, his first start, Cardinals.
And they're home. All right, this is the game of the week, maybe the game of the year. The Bills versus the Chiefs, even though last week was supposedly the game of the year, but it was just because Brady was coming back to New England. But as far as on the field, the Bills versus the Chiefs, we got two great quarterbacks going at each other, Allen and Mahomes. Who is going to win? Well, the Chiefs, they've been playing not great, but I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to say the Chiefs. And Spitface, who do you have?
I'm going to go with the Road Dog.
Going with the Bills. The Bills Mafia, huh? No. And let me tell you, those Bills, their fans travel. They travel all over the United States to see those Bills. Yes, because I know they was in the Dolphin Stadium and behind me yelling, and the Dolphins lost 35-0. But anyway, I digress and move on. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers over and under 2 interceptions. I'm going to say under. Spitface.
I'm going with the under.
Okay. All right. Patrick Mahomes, over or under 25 rushing yards. Spitface, I'll start with you first.
If he was Russell Wilson, I would say under because Russell runs for 100 yards in the backfield, you know. But I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over. Yeah. I think he's gonna have to make a few first downs.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go under. I'm going under. I don't see. I think he's going to be staying in that pocket in that bit. He's going to be passing more. Mac Jones, over or under 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns? Okay. No, I'm going to go under on this one. No, I forgot who the Patriots are playing, but
Miami.
Oh, they playing Miami? No, not with Miami, Steve. I don't. You know what? I don't know. No, they're not playing Miami. They're playing because Miami's in Tampa. Miami's
that's right. That's right. Tampa. That's right. The Buccaneers.
Miami's playing the Bucs. So
are they playing the Texans?
I don't know who they play, but we'll figure it out. All right.
So
what are you? I'm under 3 touchdowns. What are you, Spitface?
I'm going with the over.
Okay, you taking it over. All right, Zeke Elliott, under or over 100 yards rushing. I'll start with you, Spitface, because the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys are doing their thing. You know, I got last week for the first time Zeke blew up, and this week I think that they're playing the Giants. Right, the Patriots are playing the Texans, and let's see, and the Cowboys are playing the Giants. Now, Zeke is at home. He should feast, and I'm going to say that he's going to go over 100 yards rushing. They're going to feed him the ball.
Okay, you're going to say he's going to over. Well, he went over. Yeah, he went over last week. He was out of his mind. But I'm going to go under because of the fact that he was out of his mind last week. He's probably going to take a break this week. So I'm going under. All right, so we got optional games. You have to choose one upset game and how much you're betting. Your maximum amount you can bet is $250,000. So let's look at these optional games. Steelers upset Broncos. Giants upset Dallas. Dolphins upset Bucks. Eagles upset Panthers. All right, Spitface, I'm going to pick the Steelers to upset the Broncos.
How much you putting on it?
I'm going to put $150,000. What is yours?
You know, the Steelers upsetting the Broncos is the temptation game, especially because I think that the QB, the backup QB, is playing for the Broncos. I think that's the injury there. So that could, and then after the Steelers lost last week, you kind of think that they're gonna rebound. But Big Ben is starting to look kind of frozen, you know. Big Ben, and he ain't brushing off them hits like when he was a youngster. And then the other game that looks slightly tempting would actually be, you know, if it's actually I go to Dolphins versus the Bucks. To me, that's the most tempting game. You know, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go with an upset with the Dolphins upsetting the Bucks. You know, the Bucks just had a big emotional win. Brady played a good game, but he got outplayed. Okay, he won a game, but he got outplayed. So I'm going to go that the Dolphins with Brissett. Is that who they have? Brissett as they back up. That they'll steal the game from the Bucks. I'm going to put 100 on them.
Okay, you're going to put 100 on them. All right. As a matter of fact, I just got DizzieMac predictions, and he is going to go with the Eagles upsetting the Panthers. And he goes for the max. So, if you don't mind, I just want to go back and just give DizzieMac picks so everybody knows. The Saints, he's picking the Saints for Saints Washington. For Packers Bengals, he's taking the Packers. For Browns Chargers, he's taking the Browns. He's going against us on it. He likes some Cleveland Browns. And for 49er Cardinals, he's taking the 49ers. Okay. DizzieMac is coming in with the underdogs. And for Chiefs Bills, he has the Bills. And go ahead, DizzieMac. DizzieMac's light. He loves taking those opposite picks of you and me. For Aaron Rodgers, he has under. For Patrick Mahomes, he has over 25 rushing yards. And for Mac Jones, he has under 3 touchdowns. And finally, for Zeke Elliott, he has over the 100 yards. So we are complete now. We have everything that we need, and we'll see how we do next week. All right, Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
Astros, White Sox. Right now, the Stros, will they sweep the Sox and start a drive toward the World Series? So I think that's the top story. If they sweeping the White Sox, just flat out,
Well, I know the news broke last week, but I'm going to say it's still going to be a top story because they're going to be talking about those 18 NBA players that were caught federally by defrauding their health insurance. And a couple of surprises on there. Now, I ain't too surprised about Big Baby Davis from the Celtics, but I'm very, 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 very surprised about Tony Allen. That one is a very surprising one for me. Tony Allen. But anyway, it was 18 of them, so that's still going to be the top story of the week. All right, a shout out to Candace Parker, who left AA to go home to Chicago, the Chi-Town, the hometown girl, and she helps the Chicago Sky to get to the WNBA championship game against the Mercury Suns. I mean, kudos to Candace Parker. I mean, she's been big time in the WNBA for many years with the Lakers, but she wanted to go home, going home and going to Chicago. So shout out to Chicago. There's been so much problems in Chicago with all the killings and, but at least they got a chance to win the WNBA championship. All right, shout out to our Veteran Women's Enterprise Center, our partners in empowering our women warriors fighting the business battle. Visit them at veteranwomen'sec.org. That's veteran. I want to spell women's because the people don't. There's no apostrophe in there. It's WOMENSEC.org. And we have upgraded our new website, bras, panties, and sports.com, to service you better. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.